I'd love to hear your thoughts at the end of this video.
Using public toilets has definitely been one of those more challenging aspects of my transition, and it's something that many transgender people struggle with. My experience and feelings about it have changed over time, depending on where I was in my transition. So before transitioning, I wasn't entirely sure what I was feeling, but I knew deep down that something was different. I used the women's toilets because that's what was expected, but it never felt right. I often found myself wishing I could stand and pee like the men I saw going into the gents. There was this deep sense of discomfort knowing that I didn't belong in the ladies' lavatory, but also not being in a position to use men's toilets either. As a result, I would try to avoid public toilets altogether wherever possible, or get in and out as quickly as I could to avoid drawing attention. During my transition, things got more complicated. I started presenting more masculine and reached a point where using the women's bathroom became really uncomfortable. Once I started to get funny looks from women in the restroom, I stopped using them altogether. And that's when I finally started using the gents. I felt a sense of happiness and pride. It felt like I was finally starting to look the part, and there was a real sense of validation in that moment. For the first time, I felt like I belonged, even though I was still adjusting to my new environment. That pride helped me build confidence, though I still had moments of anxiety. Over time, I became more comfortable, but at that stage, just being able to walk into the men's toilets and feel like I was where I should be was a big, huge step for me. After transitioning and having chest reconstruction, I was much more at ease using the gents. My confidence grew as I became more aligned with my true self, and I stopped worrying as much about how people perceived me. Over time, I felt completely comfortable and confident in that space, no longer overthinking the situation or feeling out of place. I also found it helpful that you can buy a device called Stand and Pee, which looks like a penis and allows you to pee standing up. This made a big difference for me and gave me more confidence when using the men's toilets. Many years later, I had bottom surgery to complete my transition. This was an important milestone for me as it brought my physical body even more in line with who I am. After the surgery, I felt even more comfortable using public toilets and living my life authentically, knowing that my body finally aligned with my identity. That final step made a big difference in how I saw myself and interacted with the world around me. For me, the journey of using public toilets has been closely tied to my confidence and comfort with my gender identity. In the beginning, it was a source of anxiety, but as I transitioned, I began to feel more comfortable in my own skin, and that reflected in how I handled everyday situations like this. It's important to note that everyone's experience is different, and some transgender people might still feel discomfort or even fear when it comes to public facilities, which is why I believe having access to gender-neutral bathrooms can be so important for many in the trans community. All that being said, cis women might react quite strongly to trans women whose bodies still looked masculine going into women's toilets simply because of their own previous experience or lack of understanding. and a man might be quite threatening or inappropriate to someone whose body looked feminine going into men's toilets. Again, this is why I strongly recommend having gender neutral bathrooms. Then that way, whatever gender or identity you are, you can feel free to go to the bathroom without judgment. Hope that answers your question. Again, thanks for watching. Stay safe. See you next week.
Let me know if this helped. Drop a comment.